Yeah. Got myself a notion, one I know that you'll understand, to set the world in motion, yeah, by reaching out to each other's hands. Maybe we'll discover what we should have known all along. One way or another, together's where we both belong. If we listen to each other's hearts, we'll find we're never too far apart. And maybe love is the reason why, the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye. If a wall should come between us, too high to climb, too hard to break through, I know that love will lead us, yeah, and find a way to bring me to you. Don't be in a hurry, think before you count us out. You don't have to worry, I will never let you down.
Nothing's gonna stop us now.
If we listen to each other's hearts, find we're never too far apart. And maybe love is the reason why, the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye.
Seeing it eye to eye.
Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. If you're ever lonely, stop. You don't have to be. After all is stolen, won't beat away from you to me. Look and see. If we listen to each other's hearts, find we're never too far apart. And maybe love is the reason why, the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye. Hey,
Eye to eye.
seeing it eye to eye, yeah.
First time.
For the first time, yeah.
Seeing it eye to
First
eye.
time ever we're seeing it eye to eye.
Seeing it eye to eye.
We're seeing it
Eye to eye. Eye to eye.
Have a whole new man. Woo! Way to go. Way to go. Good morning. How are you this morning? Woo! Good morning to everyone online. I know that Reverend Jonathan is watching this morning. I also know that Lena and Linda, sounds like romper room. I see Lena, I see Linda, I see Sonia. They are at the Canadian New Thought Conference in Kelowna. It's a little chillier there than it is here. But thank you to everyone who's watching online. And thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. So we are a spiritual community, yes? And we are here to help you know and remember who you are, to feel loved, to feel inspired, and to know how brilliant you truly, truly are. So we welcome you here today to celebrate life and love and lots of laughter as well, and some phenomenal music. So what I'm going to invite you to do is just take a few minutes to stand up and say hello to your neighbor. Hello. Thank you. Hello. Are you the father of Julia? Nice to meet you. Helen. Helen. Yes. Nice to meet you. Hello, Woody. Good morning.
So yeah, your weather is nice. Hi, my name is Cindy. I'm Lori. Hi, Lori. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen. and
Hi,
Cindy.
nice to meet you. Welcome.
Murphy.
Hello. Hello, sweetie pie. So glad to have you back. Mm. All right. Oh. Okay, come on back and take your seat. I know, we could just spend the next hour socializing. Oh, he's playing his church music. I just have to tell you that earlier in the week, Brendan and I have had a lot of email exchanges going back and forth, and we've had some good jokes around new band names. And then he said, yes, and I could play some lovely church organ music for you. And I went, that's like nails on a blackboard to me. No, thank you. No offense to organists. Oh, yeah, it's going to be one of those days. Thanks, Brandon. So I'm just going to give you a few quick announcements for this morning. We have laughter yoga that is starting here. Woohoo! Oh, look, there's someone right there laughing away. Marge and Carrie will be teaching laughter yoga starting tomorrow night upstairs. Yes, so bring a friend, join them, and spend an hour just laughing, which is so much fun. Now, today, yes, they're like, get it in, get it in. Yes, today, just so you can have a chance to experience what laughter yoga is like, at 12:15 here in the sanctuary, Carrie and Marge will give a demonstration, and you can join in, so we can all leave this place laughing. Now, we also have a board meeting starting at 1 p.m. You are invited to attend the board meeting. It starts at 1 p.m., and then upstairs, we have a very special workshop happening with Dawn James. Dawn, would you stand up, please? Just so you can see Dawn. There she is. She's doing a singing bowl meditation at 1 p.m. 1 or 1:30? At 1. So again, if you have nothing going on this afternoon, head upstairs. I've seen how upstairs is all set up. It's like, and if you have not been to a singing bowl meditation, it is truly magnificent. So what I'm going to do now is invite our practitioner of the day up, Ellen Neal, to give you a few words of wisdom. And I just want to tell you, Ellen and Jackie and Carrie and Nick and Lori and Carol Calder are taking their practitioner oral panel on Tuesday night. And after that, because they're all amazingly brilliant, they will all be practitioners here at the center. Woohoo! So come on up there, Ellen.
Hi, everybody. And everybody online. Hello. And I'm taking a bit of a risk here. I've been kind of thinking and struggling about something this last few weeks, and I wrote out a really well-thought plan, but it would have been like 45 minutes. So we did some deleting this morning, so we'll see if it's cohesive enough. But I've been looking at what's going on in the world, and not just the UK, we've got things going on all over the place. And as we teach that we're all one, each and every person in the world has a divine core. It's hard to reconcile sometimes that the attributes of God, the divine, the beauty, the love, the joy, the peace, that it's all a part of each one of us, regardless. So I started looking, and thank you, Francesca, for lending me glasses. Mine are here somewhere. So I started looking back at what we've been taught, and it resonated okay. And then I did a Google search, and I found so much criticism from other religions about evil and science of the mind, saying we ignore it and just want people to look the other way. So I sat with this and really wanted to think, what do I really believe, having come from a Christian background? And I started to find tremendous articles and tremendous minds working it out and working through it, and realizing that our power to create is also affected by a collective consciousness. And if we are in a religion where we have a devil or an evil force, clearly we're going to start focusing on that and wanting to fight something, which is at the root of so much what's going on. And we here, with Ernest Holmes' guidance, believe that we are divine and there is no entity separate from us, and it's just the mistakes we make or the inability to reveal the truth that's inside of us. I came to see that I might not understand all the machinations and the nuances and what really goes on all around the world when we see the tragedy. But what I know absolutely, and was so excited to kind of come to this conclusion again, that we are each all love, and we are each completely divine. And all that really matters is that we know that and we interact with the world in that manner. And that will completely start to set off a chain reaction throughout. So most spiritual leaders, legitimate ones, do preach that we love our enemies. And not long ago, when there was the attack on the bus with the Egyptian Christians, their bishop said afterwards to the terrorists, "You are loved. The violent and deadly crimes you perpetrate are abhorrent and detestable, but you are loved. You are loved by me and millions like me because I and we believe in transformation." So I remember seeing Richard Gere after 9/11, and it wasn't taken very well. Sorry. And he spoke about if we would not send bombs in retaliation, but if we sent goods. I mean, talk about throwing these people for a loop. If we actually responded with love, which is not where the military right now is. They're not evolved to that point, but it would be amazing. So in our lives, acting out our love is through kindness. And that's such a simple word and a simple concept, but it's profound. Richard Carlson says, small acts of kindness have echoes out of proportion to the effort they take. So even just think how good when somebody lets you in traffic, there's such a good feeling that those small acts exponentially build up again too. There's these actions magnify, and the kindness as our default begins to change the world and change the mindset and the collective consciousness. And the Dalai Lama says kindness is his religion. That is the acting out of our nature, our love, our divinity. And I don't drop a lot of names because I don't have a lot of names to drop. But Marge will appreciate that I've met Donny Osmond. Nobody else here will. And maybe some of the others here will appreciate the fact that I actually met the Dalai Lama, and it's a funny story, and I don't have real time for it, but there were just 4 of us and him together, and that was profound. And his kindness and that overwhelming feeling threw me for a loop for days afterwards, just knowing how real it was. And a journalist who was here said he had not a spiritual bone in his body, but after meeting that man, he also assimilated it, so there was change created in that person. So now I'm going to contrast the Dalai Lama with something that's almost blasphemous, and that's Saddam Hussein. And he has changed lives with kindness. And if we truly believe that every single human being is love at their core, and we're one and divine, we need to believe this about the terrorists, the criminals, the dictators. It is there within them. So we don't see evidence of it necessarily, but there was evidence with him. And after he was captured by the Americans, he was kept in a small compound under guard with young 23-year-old guys. And they're completely thrown for a loop by the relationship they developed with him, the kindness he attended the weeds with coming through the concrete, and the tender care to birds that were out there, an injured bird. They started talking with him, and he started to become a grandfather figure to these US soldiers who couldn't reconcile that they were developing a relationship with this person who was supposedly a monster. When his nurse had to go home because his brother was ill, Hussein embraced him and said, "I will be your brother when you return." And it was consistent. A lot of cynics think that this was just manipulative on his part, but it was consistent behavior, and such a relationship developed that the soldiers grieved after he was executed. And just before the morning of, they all cried together, and he gave one of the soldiers his watch. It's weird, and they've had difficulty coming to terms with that. So we can look at the people who take wrong action in this world through the eyes of our heart and loving them. And they're just not aware of the truth of who they are. They're not aware of what's inside. So we need to forgive and love ourselves when we don't act in a manner that's appropriate, and also offer that same love to everybody else. These examples are severe in their scope, obviously, and day to day the people we come in contact with, we need to treat, obviously, with love, and kindness is that love. And that's the expansion and the growth, and retaliation and negativity is constrictive, and we won't evolve with that. So to see from the place of love is so freeing, and acting on it cannot help but be a seed of transformation. And again, this doesn't condone the actions like people tend to believe we might sometimes feel. But literally, each loving action brings about change in the world. And there are talk about how many people, if we reach a critical mass, and then there's a domino effect of love throughout this world. So love overcomes both fear and hate, and living as love brings harmony to the world. And Desmond Tutu said, "We are each made for goodness, love, and compassion. Our lives are transformed as much as the world is when we live these truths." So we have an affirmation, and it's by consciously expressing the love that I am, I lift up the world to greater harmony. So if we'd say that once together, by consciously expressing the love that I am, I lift up the world to greater harmony. And one more time, by consciously expressing the love that I am, I lift up the world to harmony, greater harmony. Okay. So if you just take a moment to feel yourself in this space, breathe in this beingness, this absolute wonder that is God. And on this beautiful day, we see it revealed through all of nature, the sparkling water, in this room, in this sacred space. Each and every one of us are this divine energy. And by living it with our truth, by consciously spreading our love with kindness, there's no kindness too small. We know that we affect the world around us, that it is imperative that we take these actions in every part of our life to bring about the change that is already beginning. And I am so grateful to every person in this room for each person's consciousness and knowing of this truth, with each person's absolute purpose to live it each and every day, knowing that we see the change right now. And I release the word to the law, knowing it is so, knowing that we are profound creators of everything in this world. And together we say, and so it is.
Many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over. Wondering I am lost as I travel along, white cliffs of Dover. Many rivers keeps me alive. I've been licked, washed up for years, and I merely survive because of my pride. And this loneliness won't leave me alone. It's such a drag to be on your own. My woman left, and she didn't say why. Still, I guess I'll have to try. I got many rivers to cross, but just where to begin? I'm playing for time. There are times I find myself thinking of committing some dreadful crime. Still, I got many rivers to cross, ooh, but I can't seem to find my way over. Wandering, I am lost as I travel along white cliffs of Dover. 'Cause I got many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over.
Come here, you. That was. Give it up for Aiden. Thanks, guys. We're about being real here. And being real is about letting emotion out. It's about screwing up, which I'm really good at doing, and tripping over myself, and being real. And thank you. That was raw and real and beautiful. Thank you, Aiden. You know, one of the things I want to do with the music is I want young, brilliant, fresh talent here that is crossing those many rivers and is, tripping up on the way and just showing up. And so, you know, that's why we're here. Now, speaking of, I'm kind of left with one sheet of my talk. Here, I'll take the rest. Just because, you know, it'll be helpful for me and you, believe me. So, how many of you have felt like you've had many rivers to cross, right? And you're stumbling along the way, and you don't know which one to cross. And, you know, this teaching is about staying conscious so that we can make a choice and move forward. And then, oh gosh, I don't know if I really like that choice. I think I'll make another choice and I'll cross a different river, because we're all on this journey. And part of the theme for this month, well, not part of the theme, it is the theme for this month, is conscious completion. Because we've had Jonathan transition and move on, and you know, that's bringing his 5-year tenure here to a completion so that he can step into the next evolution of who he is, and we can step into the next evolution of who we are. whatever that looks like. But what we have to do is remember that our mind is the container of the beliefs that create our experience. So whatever we're experiencing, if we want to finish it off, we got to release it and let it go. Because completion is about moving on to the next evolution of who we are. It's a whole new beginning. And, we got to do that from that energy of love. So as you know, we have home groups that have started. They've all completed. So they've completed their first gathering. And I'm also in a home group for ministers and directors of the home groups. I'm with ministers all across America. So I had my home care circle on Thursday morning, and it starts off, we go and we do a check-in, and we're online, we're on Zoom. It's not like we gather somewhere, travel somewhere, because some people are way on the West Coast. We did this check-in, and we go around, and this woman at the end says, I'm done. I'm moving on. I'm leaving my center. I found something new, and I'm leaving this circle. Yeah. I was like, oh. I think we were all kind of going, oh, okay. And even her co-leader did not know this. So what we did was a conscious completion of raising and praising her and expressing our appreciation for the gifts that she has given us over the last, it's been about, I think this is our 6th gathering, so over the last 6 months. And we were able to go around and say thank you. And then Mark said, all right, namaste, be on your way. You're leaving the group. You're done. So she signed off online. And it was this wonderful way of saying goodbye. And what struck me that was so interesting was I had no attachment. It was like, oh, she made a choice for her. That's right for her. Okay. And to not have any judgment, any that was a good or a bad thing, to not have any kind of emotional hook like, oh my God, how can you abandon us? Or have wish her any kind of like, oh, you're really stupid for leaving us. We're a really great group and we rock. None of that. It was just a very simple, easy understanding that we're all united, we're all one, and yet we all are on our own individual path. Can we honor each and every person's choice and path from that place of love and open-heartedness? And then we went on with the rest of our group, and there you go. It was done. It was pretty darn easy. So one of the things that I appreciate is that in the completion, there's a unity, an authenticity, a clarity. And to know what actually lies before you in any moment determines what it is you shall see. To know, I just have to say, hi, you brought the baby. I'm sorry. Squirrel. Baby. Right in the middle of a profound moment. So knowing how to look at what lies before you determines what it is you shall see. So, when we can look at what lies before us, what shows up in our life, in that place of unity, clarity, authenticity, and love, we will see that what is happening is most love, most loving for all of us. It will always serve the highest and best good to raise us all up to where we need to go in our next evolution. Love is the outreach of self towards completion. And we know we are complete when we can have those moments of joy and say, yes, this is great. This is great. When we are reaching out from that infinite place of love, there can only be conscious completion in order to step into the next possibility or possibilities for each one of us. And we all have many possibilities. And we have to remember, we are surrounded by a law mind that works on our thoughts. So when change is about to happen, we often go into fear and scarcity and lack, and we want to hang on. And yet, what we need to do most of all is release and let go, because that hanging on to, we've been hanging on because it's comfortable. Because it's comfortable, and we don't evolve when we're comfortable. We do not. No, we have to let it go and feel that joy and release and openness, because then we can be in that place of receptivity for what is next. Love knows no bounds. It is eternal goodness. It is grace. It is joy. It is the self-givingness of love to ourselves. And so, when I can recognize those moments of where I'm in the presence and I say, okay, I release, I let go. We do that in prayer all the time. Release, let it go. From that place of a joyful, open heart, all is well. All is in divine order, and life will take care of itself. So I want to say, for our own home groups, I first of all want to say kudos to Ellen and to Judy and to Lena, who are our home group leaders, who are holding these care circles, able and in love, where community is created. And the thing that I'm hearing back from all of the groups is how much they feel connected to one another and how much they're enjoying the groups. So thank you to the leaders, because I couldn't do it without all of you taking that home. And you're doing it so, so brilliantly. So the name of my talk this morning is called The Tree of Life. And I came up with that talk title in Mexico. I was in Mexico a few weeks ago. I went to Mexico with 4 other ladies who are part of my book club. And I say that very loosely. I don't think we've ever read one book together in the entire, oh yes, we did, one at the very beginning, in 10 years. In 10 years. Yeah, it's a great book club. We do read wine labels and other things. And we write books, but we just, we've been together for 10 years talking about community. They too are a care circle for me, because we have supported each other through so many difficult times and loved each other unconditionally. So we decided to go to Mexico. For those of you who know Linda, we went to her condo on Isla Mujeres, which is the island of women. And one of the experiences we had was going to the Yucatan. We took a day trip back to Cancun. We had a driver take us into Yucatan and to a village, of which, please don't ask me the name, because A, my Spanish isn't very good, but also I had kept the brochure of where we went. And in my 900 square foot condo, do you think I can find that brochure that I put away so safely to refer back to? But one of the things we did was we went to a home that has the largest Mexican folk art collection in the world. It's a couple from the States who restored this home, and they open it up to people. It was truly magnificent, and they take two people through on tours. So we're walking through the bedrooms and these different areas of patios and the living room. And at one point, one person in my group says, "Aren't you afraid of people stealing things?" Because it was wide open. There wasn't any security. There were no locks on anything. And the guy turns to us and says, "When you have guests in your home, do you expect that they are going to steal from you?" We're like, "No." You are our guests in our home. Why would we expect that? And inside I'm going, yes, that's consciousness. That is consciousness. There was an expectation of us being guests. So we would respect and honor the home just like we would respect anybody's home when we walk into it. And believe me, it would have been easy to steal something there. And I just walked by and went into my bag because it's all over. But that was their consciousness. And it gets even better than that because they don't take any money for these tours. They have a donation, and the money that is donated goes back into the community to help children with disabilities or spay and neuter animals or buy dog food or whatever the community needs. And I went, oh, I love this. This is so great because it was such a clear example of what do we have going on in our minds. They were not in fear. They were in complete givingness. So that was my first kind of spiritual experience. I was marking them while I was there because I wasn't expecting to have a spiritual experience. I was going with my ladies to have a good time. And then we went to the Mayan ruins, which were incredible. We took a tour. We're moving through the jungle, and we get to the ruins, and on the way, he said, "There is the Mayan tree of life." And I went, whoa, the Mayans had a tree of life. Cool. Because, every religion and the history of tree of life throughout religious history is phenomenal. But I didn't know the Mayans had a tree of life. So we go through, and myself and one other person, we decide we're climbing the 106 steps in the 40-degree heat, and I was wearing flip-flops, and the angle was at 40 degrees, and the steps are only about this big, but I'm going up. And I'm like, I looked at my footwear, and I went, not the best choice today. And then I went, you know what? It doesn't matter because I am conscious. I will take good care of myself. And because I am choosing to go to the top, I will get there safely. So we go up, and one of the guides came with us for the first half. Then we decided to go to the next level. And I look, and it's like the guide's gone back down. Oh, he abandoned us. I'm like, it's fine. I'm safe. I'm good. Get to the top, and it was the most spectacular view. And to think that thousands of years ago, people lived there. That was their community where they were cared for and loved and had their rituals and honored nature in such an incredible way. I'm like, thank you. And then I look, and I'm like, and now I have to get down. And I am not walking down. No way. I went down each step on my butt. And it was hot, and we burnt the palms of our hands because the stones were so hot from the heat, but it was so worth it. And on the way out, we stopped by the Tree of Life, and then my friends went off. I decided to stay with the tree, and I just went, wow, you have been here a very long time. Thank you. And I put my hand out on it, and I dropped down into affirmative prayer. I just went, oh my God, there's only one. We are so connected here. And what happened was I felt this incredible energy where I zipped through time way back and then back into my body. And I was like, I almost dropped to my knees. I was in tears. And I said, consciousness and our thoughts, the energy, it has no time or space. And it's so fast because it was a split second there and back into my body. And I realized what we think, what we say, what we do has such an incredible effect at warp speed, and we're not aware of it. We don't pay attention. We don't, it's like, oh, well, we'll just say this, we'll just say that. No. It has an effect so fast out into that incredible, vast, universal mind, which contains everything from history, right here and now, right up into the future, way beyond what we can consider. And we don't realize that we're affecting it. We are. So what is it that we really want to focus our minds on? The mistakes that we perceive, got that there, Aiden? Perceive we made, the screw-ups, the gnarls, the bumps, the lumps, or do we want to focus on remembering who we are, that we are divine spirit, we are one with everything, and we are powerful. We can make a difference in the world. And we do it every single day, whether we are aware of it or not. So I want you to think about this week. What am I thinking about? What am I speaking? Are they words of love? Or am I focusing on judgment? And as Judy so beautifully said, and you've said this a couple of times, Judy, and I'm really catching on to this, is that if I don't judge anything, I have nothing to forgive because all I am is love. And when I'm not judging, I am not living in duality. I'm living in oneness and wholeness and peace and grace. So I worked really, really hard in those 8 days with my ladies to release judgments because we're very strong personalities, the five of us, and we are very, very clear, each one of us, on what is good for us and what isn't, which is great, but I don't have to judge whether that is right or wrong or good or bad. That's their choice. Because if you think about it, each one of us, we're those little tree sprouts, right? And we all have our own roots that go down deep into the earth, and they all create that history, but we have our trunks that are filled with all those gnarls and knots, which represent the struggles that we've had and the choices that we've made, but we're still reaching up for consciousness because we're still spreading new branches, new leaves, still happening. So we're still, there's some part of us that is still wanting to evolve, to expand, to become more than what we think we are able to be. Because if we have those limiting thoughts, oh, I can only do this much or only be this, then we've snapped off a branch, and then we've snapped off another branch, and we start stunting our growth. And we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. Not what this philosophy is about. So if you think about it, the tree of life that is a metaphysical process, just like we are in a metaphysical process. And we're all being individualized into our own unique being. So to really, really embrace that uniqueness that is us, because the meaning of the tree of life is really, really simple. It is, you are a child of the universe. You have the right to exist, and you have the responsibility to grow to be yourself. Yourself, not what somebody else told you to be. And so, to really understand that even though we're all connected, we can be ourselves in this vast, vast universe, this vast world, and continue to grow and move forward. Ernest Holmes says the tree of life is our real being. It is our real being. It is the infinite nature of birth and life and expression and creation and growth and expansion, and then recreation into something new when it's time. And there's always a time for that recreation into something new. And that is what that conscious completion is all about. So that this week, what I want you to think about is, what are you consenting to in your mind? What are you believing and understanding and buying into? Knowing that thoughts are like beams of energy moving at warp speed. And combined with our rooted belief and the feeling that we have, we are creating all the time. And to every action, every word, every thought, there is an effect, whether we see it or not. So be conscious this week. Really think about it. What is it that I am creating? What is the effect that I want to be in the world? And then, if you don't like the effect, change your mind. Change your beliefs. Choose a new path. Choose a new river to cross. We have free will choice, and we can choose something different in every moment. Every moment. So choose consciously. Think about what it is you are consenting to, and what branch do you want to start to grow now? What blooms do you want to have happen in your life? Namaste. Thank you. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to put your hands over your heart. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. But right here, right now, say to yourself, I'm choosing, I'm consenting to love, to light, to growth, to expansion. Breathe it in. Breathe it in, knowing that your mind, your thoughts are energy, and they move at warp speed. They move at warp speed because they are part of a universal energy. A universal energy that is everywhere present. It is everywhere, creating, being. And it must create, it must evolve, it must expand. And this is what our minds are to do, is to expand, to grow, and to create something new. Because we are this light. We are love. We are spirit expressing in each and every moment. That energy of love, of light, moves through us as us with every breath that we take, every word that we speak, every action. And so, this week, choose to take kind, loving actions towards yourself and others. Choose to think thoughts that are kind and loving. Choose to embrace and love yourself fully and completely as we are divine spirits right here, right now. Connected to Source as one. Even though we're individualized, we all still come from that same one beautiful source of light, of love, of spirit, of universal presence, divine God. And for this knowing, I say thank you. In my mind, I say yes. Yes to constructive thoughts, to loving thoughts. I say yes in my heart to feeling the love and the presence and the peace and the joy, the harmony, the oneness of all life that is through us as us right here, right now. And so breathing into this, embodying it, and knowing we are magnificent. We are powerful. We are an individualized expression of Source at all times. And so as knowing this, as embodying this, I now just release it and let it go. I don't have to hang on to it. Because as my word is spoken, it is already done in that universal mind. It is done. It is complete. So in grace and gratitude, I say, let go and let it flow. And together we say, and so it is. And take it away. Are you feeling it? Yeah? All right. So this is the time when we have our baskets go around. So I invite you to take out what you have to offer the center today and hold it in your hands. And again, from that place of consciousness, bless it. Know that what you give from your open heart, what you give from a place of cheerfulness and happiness and joy, always returns to us multiplied abundantly, because it is who and what we are. It is that constant circulation of energy. And as the baskets are going around, we are going to stand up and sing, "What do I have to give?" Also, if you have a prayer card or a prayer request, you can fill that out and put it in the basket as well. I'm going to invite Ellen to give a treatment.
We just take a breath and be in this sacred space as the essence of God, fully giving of ourselves, of our gifts, of our beingness to the center with joy and gratitude, knowing that it goes out to serve and grow and be complete. And I'm so grateful for these gifts. I'm so grateful for the good that they do. And I release this word to the law, knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you. Okay. So, gonna hand it right over to the band again. I was just about to say, hey, we're done, folks. We're not done. All right. Woo-hoo.
Boy, Mercury shouldn't brew every degree. Oh, girl, dancing down on those dirty and dusty trails. Take it hip to hip, rocking through the wilderness. All around the world, a trip
everybody.